Downstairs neighbor demands we walk normal. So we do. And she hates it, by user paludis vulpes. We've been living in this apartment for 3 years. It's old. It's cozy. The building is 20 years old, and though the appliances and wall paint and carpets have been replaced, the floor has not. It's painfully thin. Every step we take creaks and groans, and it's annoying. Living on the 3rd floor, we know it's gotta be even more so for whoever lives below us. So, we've done our best to be mindful of their comfort, and try not to make too much noise. We had a new downstairs neighbor move in a couple months ago. And she is not convinced that we are literally tiptoeing around our apartment. Every time I get home and close my door, she's banging on my floor with a broom or something. Every time I cross the living room, banging. Every time I vacuum, banging. Every time my dog chews on a bone, she bangs on the dang floor, and it scares my poor dog. We've been living on eggshells trying to be courteous, but she's driving us mad with her insistent banging every time we take a step. I guess she had finally had enough because she came upstairs to yell at us the other day. You are too loud. You need to be courteous and walk normal. You have neighbors, she yells. She almost looked like she was going to cry. It was disturbing. We felt bad. My husband tried to explain that, ma'am, we do our best to be quiet, but these floors are really old and they creak. We're not stomping or jumping or running. We're living, but we'll continue to be considerate. She was not impressed with his answer, and continued to argue. Well, I lived on a 1st floor before, and my other neighbors weren't loud like you. It's so loud and my job is so stressful, so I want you to stop stomping. I don't want to be a mean person, but I really think you're too loud. So you know what we agreed to? To walk like normal people. Okay, we'll walk normally. We said. This is exactly what we had been doing. Nothing different. So she still bangs on the floor and gives us nasty looks. But we are being normal people who walk normal and don't stomp around. Our dog is a normal dog who chews on bones and walks from his bed to his food bowl, and gets excited when it's time for walkies. We are so normal. We'll be moving in the next month, so it's no skin off my back. Hope the next tenant doesn't have kids, or maybe I do. And then she'll finally understand that we are normal people who walk normal. Maybe she'll miss us. Edit. So I've noticed a lot of y'all upset over me calling a 20-something-year-old building old. Sorry. I should have called it dated. I'm in a big city where most apartment buildings around here are pretty new, and have maybe only been around a decade or so. So this one is old to me. Not new. Also. Thank y'all for the stories, input, and advice on how to be better neighbors. Some are pretty insightful. However, considering she banged on the floor again today while I was running the bath, I'm not too concerned with wearing slippers all day around the house, or padding the carpeted floors with noise-canceling material. Angry people like being angry. I'm excited for the move-out day, when people will be constantly walking around and moving heavy furniture. Smiley face, I can't prop the door open? Alrighty then, by user pickles_mcwaffle_1. TLDR at bottom. Been sitting on this story for a few months now. I work for a small moving company in my city. We move furniture and decor to many different places throughout the city. We got a call about moving a large load of bookshelves to a rather large industrial building. We loaded up 2 18-foot box trucks full of shelves and were ready to move. When we arrived at the building, we pulled around to the loading dock and began offloading the shelves. As we were bringing stuff off the truck, I went to building security to open the door. There had been a recent string of shootings in our area and everyone was locking all the doors. They handed me a doorstop and told me I could prop the door open since we have a large load. So I propped open the door and we got going. We no more had the first pallet off the truck when the building's maintenance manager came running towards us. He screamed at us, "What are you doing? You cannot have that door propped open." Now this man looked like he was somewhere between the ages of 76 and 105. He was as red as I've ever seen anyone. I calmly told him that security gave me a doorstop and told me since we have such a large load, we could keep the door propped open. Of course, he wasn't having it. "I don't care what security told you, you cannot have this door propped open." At this point, my Native American temper got the better of me. I replied, "Yes sir." I walked over to the door and picked up the doorstop. I walked back to security and explained the situation. They rolled their eyes and explained that this crotchety old fossil is always causing problems all over the building. They told me I could still prop open the door, but now I was mad and was feeling petty. He doesn't want us to prop the door open? Alrighty then. There was a buzzer outside of the door, so I buzzed security asking them if they could open the door. Well, guess whose office was right by said door, and thus guess who security called to open the door and let us in? That's right, Fossil Man that was 2 days older than dirt. He opened the door and let us in. We made our delivery and came back to grab another pallet. I again buzzed security and they again asked Fossil Man to let us in. This happened twice more before he stopped me and said, "You know, if you wanted to keep that door open, you can, since you have such a big load." I replied with the biggest smile on my face, "Oh no sir, this door cannot be propped open. I wouldn't want to upset anyone by doing that." He looked at me with a look on his face that was somewhere between murderous and the realization that he had made a huge mistake. 18 pallets later, we had the load delivered. And every single time, guess who had to let us in? It took us a little over 2 hours to get everything finished. The last pallet we delivered, I poked my head into Fossil Man's office and said, "Thank you so much for your help." I'm pretty sure he popped a blood vessel. TLDR, Crotechy old fart tells me I can't prop open a door. Alright then, you'll open it for me more than 20 times. She said, "Contact a lawyer." Okay, by user Joef Nightwolf. Injured at work. Ambulance, hospital, doctors, inpatient therapy, outpatient therapy excellent, first class. Insurance did not cut corners. During hospitalization some small nerve damage was found. I was told it could last for years or fix itself. Immediate solution, a pill. Used for the treatment of mild Parkinson's, 1 a day if needed. It worked well. During my 8 months of therapy I used about 15 to 20 pills a month. Physical therapy completed, great therapists, I returned to work. The pills were prescribed in a frequency greater than my use, but the pharmacy would call on schedule to pick up more. At one point I realized they had not called, so I called. Prescription expired, I was told. Had plenty of unused pills, so not in a rush for more, I contacted the insurance company. Told case closed. I argued that this was part of the original diagnosis and might continue for years. Case closed was the response. I offered to pay for the pills but needed the script from our HE doctor to get more. I was told that all I could do was reopen the claim. Okay, thank you. How do I do that? The answer was given. Call a lawyer, she said. I had been treated very well by the insurance company up to this point without litigation, but okay. $84,000 plus their legal fees. The pills were 34 cents each, $81 a year. All I wanted were the pills. Note to underwriting. Don't be in such a rush to end workman's comp claims. I just wanted the pills. You're just joking? Great, I'ma head home, by user Brooklynisqueer. Since y'all liked my last story, here's another regarding my dickhead supervisor. Let's call her Kathy. So I work at a Canadian coffee chain called Tim Hortons, basically Canadian Dunkin' Donuts. I was about halfway through my shift the other day when Kathy comes up to me while I was busy and says, "You're staying late 'cause you owe me a favor," and walked away. Someone had called in and she wanted me to cover part of their shift. Now if I stayed late I'd be working 12 hours, and I'm on my 3rd day working out of 5 and had to be up early the next day for another shift. Not to mention I didn't even owe Kathy anything. The favor she's referring to is when she sent me home early 'cause we weren't busy, which she had to do or she would get in trouble. Now in Canada an employer can't force you to stay later like that, so I walked up to Kathy when I had a free moment and said, "If you want me to stay later you can ask me properly, I don't disrespect you, so I expect to be given respect in return." Kathy gets snippy. "Oh, calm down, I was just joking with you." I was about to fight back, but a light bulb went off in my head. I walked away and continued my work. When the people in the next shift started showing up I ran my plan past them and they gave me the go-ahead. Cue malicious compliance. Instead of staying later, I went home at my normal time. I didn't stay later as I hadn't agreed to anything. Nearly the second I sat down at home I got a call from none other than Kathy. Me, hello? Kathy, where are you? I said you were staying late today. Me, you said you were joking. Kathy, yeah, with how I asked, but I figured you needed hours and weren't gonna say no, so I assumed you'd stay. Me, I can't, I'm busy, this is why you should have asked properly. Click. Kathy had to cover the shift. Worst part is I probably would have considered covering it had she just asked me nicely, but I'm a petty bitch. Not bringing ear protection to shoot guns? Very well, by user Deathskrieg. I'm a bit of a gun nut. So naturally I visit the range often. I took a trip with a friend to an outdoor range, and after a while of shooting, this other group shows up. I was coming back from setting up more targets when I notice a kid with them who's not wearing ear protection. One of the adults with him notices my concern and attempts to reassure me, saying that he won't be shooting today. I ask if they have hearing protection and he says we'll be fine, keep shooting. I then empty a 20-round magazine of 7.62 x 51. I look over after a couple of shots and notice they are all covering their ears with their hands. Depending on the rifle, 7.62 x 51 can generate around 150 decibels. Permanent ear damage can occur at 120 decibels for any length of time. They left as soon as my magazine was empty. Edit: I didn't ask, but the kid was clearly old enough to know that guns will destroy one's hearing. Edit 2: There was no range officer or dedicated safety guy of any sort. The only safety mechanism in place was a "don't be stupid" sign and hopefully common sense.